of cultural observation and personal experience. Cultural observation gained mostly through my work as a youth and young adult minister, and it really draws on this realization that we've lost the idea of the human thing. What is it that really makes us human, that sets us apart, that makes us unique instances of God's creation. And the purpose of it is really explained by the name of the ministry, Fresh Image. And the latter word, image, is the most important word because it draws on this classical Judeo-Christian concept that we're all created in the image and likeness of God, the Imago Dei. And that Imago Dei really tells us what our nature is as human persons, okay? And what it tells us first and foremost is that within the Christian understanding of who God is, we understand that God, as John tells us in one of his epistles, that God is love, okay? And so being created in the image of that God, our nature and our purpose is first and foremost to love, okay? And the fresh word in front of the image is put there to insinuate that we need to really bring the concept of the Imago Dei back into the cultural discussion and bring it back in a way that's refreshed, that's related in a way that really hits home with people. But also, FRESH is an acronym that stands for certain concepts that I think help to get us there, to get us to that kind of understanding of what we are as human people and help us to live the purpose that we've been created for. And so the first is faith. And it's faith in a creator that has created us on purpose, has created everything on purpose with a purpose. And it's trust in that creative action of God to make everything with intentionality and with a purpose. And what faith does for us is it immediately breaks us out of ourselves. It helps us to see that we're not the biggest thing in the world. We're not the most important thing in the world. But rather we have, and that we haven't been created for ourselves, but we've been created precisely for others. And to be in relationships of love. Specifically in our own way, our own unique way, as unique instances of that image of God. And this stance of faith immediately allows for a stance of love, which ties into the R of FRESH, which stands for respect. And what I mean by respect is basically the Christian concept of charity, right? Recognizing the other as other, desiring and loving the other as such, as another self, and desiring the absolute good of the other, which is for them to be in relationship with that God that has created them on purpose with a purpose, and helping them and desiring for them to become the person that they've been created to be. And so then, following that, the E stands for endurance. And endurance is necessary because if you're going to take a position and an attitude towards life that is faith-based and it's based on loving the other as other and not selfish, you're going to be living in a way that's really walking the opposite direction of the rest of society, a society that we see more and more is really geared towards self-grandification, really self-importance, really seeking what can I get from any given situation, even what can I get from this other person, how can I use them? And so endurance helps us to stick fast to those convictions that our faith gives us, and really helps us to stay steadfast in that approach and that stance of love. And the S stands for scheme, and I know scheme has a negative connotation to it, right? It sounds like you're going to do something mischievous, but that isn't how I mean it at all. What I mean by scheme is a couple different things. It's first to set goals, okay? But in order to set goals, to be and to live who you've been created to be. But in order to be able to do that, we need to discern who it is that I've been created to be. And so both discernment and setting goals to live the purpose that we've been created for is part of the scheme concept in the fresh lifestyle. And then the last thing is hope. And it's hope that draws on all the previous concepts that Fresh Image is about. And it's primarily on faith, first and foremost on faith in a God that has created us on purpose, with a purpose, and so we can have hope in that. Hope that God that created us isn't going to abandon us or set us on a wild goose chase to discover what we've been created for, or abandon us to realize what we've been created for. But He's going to walk with us as we try and live the life and the purpose that we've been created for, never abandoning us. And then the hope of these 5 concepts is to kind of give people some tools that they can live by to live their purpose in life, and really see that their life is meant to be beautiful and to live life in a beautiful way, but also to recognize that everybody around them is made in the same way. They're made on purpose with a purpose as well, and to recognize, and in recognizing that, we can recognize the beauty in all of those around us. And so that's really the goal of Fresh Image.